Well, hello and welcome to a bit of a damp, still morning here in beautiful Nova Scotia. Welcome to my channel, The Optimistic Gardener. My name is Steve Farley. The birds are singing. It's a nice early morning. It's about 7 o'clock here in the Optimistic Garden. It's a bit damp. There's a bit of a sort of mizzle, as we used to say down in Cornwall, going on, but it's nice. And I thought I would do a bit of a veg walk round. I haven't really done one this year. Been a bit of a topsy-turvy year this year. I've just not been able to sort of get on top of everything that I wanted to do in the garden. Hence, I'm all a bit late, and that lateness is going to sort of bleed into in the next couple of days again, because I've got a hernia operation I've got to have. All that digging and lifting heavy stuff has affected my stomach, so unfortunately I've got to have a hernia operation, which is going to put me behind again. So I thought I'd better get amongst showing you guys what I've actually done, even though it's not that much in the veg garden this year. Still got some nice stuff going on, and hopefully some nice stuff coming up. So I've not completely abandoned my veg garden, even though I have got I'm supposedly mid-project on the other side. So the two veg gardens that I've got on the other side is sort of half abandoned, because I'm supposedly digging it up and making a new one, but I haven't really got round to it properly yet. Anyway, I'll tell you what, enough of the excuses. Let's look at the good stuff and the bad stuff. Have a little tour around the veg garden. Shouldn't take too long, and let me know what you think. So here we are in the main veg garden of mine. I have 8 of these 4x6 beds and 2 of these 2x, I think they're 10 beds, 2x10 beds that have fruit in them. This first one here, we have onions, and these are all doing very nicely. I've sowed them in the old, did I do these in sets? These were sets, yes. In the sort of multi-sow format, where I've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 quite close together, as you can see, and in groups. So again here, if I can show you better, sort of close together, and you can get a nice amount in there, and then, you know, as they grow, they'll just push each other out a little bit. You won't get the biggest onions in the world, but you can get a good amount, and they'll grow into a nice size already, nice and early. And you know, I've got a large amount in there, very good. So they're looking nice and healthy. A few weeds I've got to get out there. Coupled with my topsy-turvy world this year, the compost that I've put in hasn't got rid of all the weed seeds that it normally would. So I've had to do a little bit more weeding than I normally do. But, you know, keeps me off the streets, doesn't it? So there's the onions. So what have I got? I've got white onions and red onions, I think, on the other side there. So this next bed is potatoes. So it's my usual competition. Normally sort of planted potatoes, and the seaweed planted potatoes, or seaweed potatoes planted in seaweed. And they're just laid down on the bed, and then seaweed piled over, and then instead of putting earth in them up, I seaweed them up. Now, as you can see, the earth ones are bigger than the seaweed ones, and that normally happens. The earth ones normally get going quicker than these actual seaweed ones, but I like growing them in the seaweed. I always get lots of good potatoes in there, so you know, we'll see how it works. These earth-grown ones need earthing up, actually, so I need to pile some more earth up to about there, really, to encourage more potatoes. But they're doing nicely, very nicely indeed, so I'm pleased with them. Obviously not the most massive bed, and potatoes are cheap, but you know, they are nice, aren't they, when you get them out of your own, dig them out of your own bed at the end of the season. Beautiful. Excuse me. Right, here we have carrots. So this is a bit of a disappointment. This one, this bed this year, very spotty. The germination of the carrots. So I need to sow a few more carrots along here. Although a few of them again are starting to germinate now. So these deep purple ones, they've all germinated okay. The little finger and the scarlet naunt, the naunt was a complete blowout, seems to me. So I've got a few different rows that I planted over a few weeks, and these ones seems to have done better. I haven't marked them ones. So that's the carrots there, and now here I didn't have much because I've cut down my other bed. I don't have that much space, so I've planted bush beans, and these are all starting to germinate now, as you can see. Got some more there germinating, nothing coming up there yet, but I've got about 3 or 4 rows of bush beans there. So, you know, I've got some carrots, need to re-sow along there. Topsy-turvy. Always got coriander, or cilantro as we call it over here in North America, popping up everywhere, and I'll let it grow, because you can never have enough coriander. And then when they flower, great plants for the pollinators, and you get all sorts of hoverflies and bees and all sorts love them. So I'll just let it grow up as it is. So that's these first 3 beds. Not too bad. Here's my autumn fruiting raspberries, and we had I think it was late frosts last year, so these I had an absolute bumper harvest of raspberries, and I was giving them away all over the place. The only problem with this bed, even though it's in a raised bed, I keep getting raspberries popping up in this bed here and this asparagus bed next door. I don't know if I can see any here today. I think I've weeded most of it out. No. But yeah, early in the season I get lots of runners coming all the way from there, but you know, it's worth it. A little bit of work. Absolutely beautiful autumn fruiting raspberries, and they're growing nicely. You know, they'll grow up very high, and be picking them around sort of late September, early October time. So here we have the asparagus bed, letting that grow out now. As you can see, I've had 6 good weeks of harvesting. These are real good bumper crop this year. Now I'm letting them grow out to you know, get all their goodness in. So that's been it's a really good. I always encourage anyone to get themselves an asparagus bed. You know, you have to wait about 3 years before a crop, but then that's it now. They just keep coming up every year for the next 25 years. So really good plant to have in the garden. The old perennial needs a bit of weeding. These are, I can't remember what the plant is, but like I said, I've had a bad compost year this year. Lots of these, they're flowers, but obviously in this context they're a weed. So I need to get amongst that. And all I'll do with these at the end of the season is, now I'm going to let them grow out, get the goodness. I'll put another load of compost down at the end of the year and let that sort of get all the goodness in over the winter, and they'll pop up again early sort of late May, early June. Beautiful. No, so that was mid-May they came out, mid-May, because we've had a warm spring this year. So that's good. Here is the other fruit bed. So these are blackberries. I've only had these in a couple of years. So this year they've flowers aplenty here, so hopefully lots of fruit to come. So that's nice. And I got a few errant strawberries in the back here. This bed here is my strawberry bed with the cage over. So those of you who don't know, obviously we get lots of raccoons around here, and when I first put the strawberry bed in, the raccoons were, as you can see in the picture there, the raccoons are in there eating all my strawberries. Now I've put this cage in there. We've got, oh look, strawberries are starting to come there, look at that beauty. So last year I had an absolutely massive harvest of strawberries. Really pleased with it. So let's have a little look, see what we got in here, shall we? So lots of strawberries in there coming, as you can see. Some ready to harvest. Yeah, oh look, squashed one with my cage there, that's a pity. So looking for a nice bumper harvest again this year. Lots coming there, it seems. This had early spinach in it, and now I've got lettuce and more spinach coming. So there's a line of spinach, and there's a line of mustards, and we've got some lettuce coming along there, so that's all starting to germinate. There's some old spinach now that I need to start picking before it goes completely to seed. So this is, again, I've had a couple of rounds of spinach and lettuce early season and rocket there, and now I'm re-sowing for some early season, some mid-summer lettuce, etc. So oregano, mint, it's gone funny this year, trying to escape is what it's doing. Coriander again. Here I've got some peas, so I've got half a bed of peas. There's my usual sort of pea sticks that I just let them climb up. I like them like that. And I've got so many tomatoes this year, I'm just trying to find them everywhere. And so I've got half a bed of tomatoes there. There's one of those flowers. It has a big high yellow spikes. I can't remember what they're called. But I thought I'd let that grow, because then the pollinators all come in looking for that as well. That's good. That's a flower bed. Had all tulips earlier on in the year. Now we've got a few sunflowers coming up, and I planted and sown some other sunflowers, and you can see there are actually some sunflowers coming there. And here is my nursery bed where I've taken some cuttings, hardwood cuttings. I think that is a dogwood. So the dogwoods again have taken really easily, as you can see. I've got some other ones that haven't taken so well, which were the, what were they? It's a hedge. Some sort of hedge plant, and I can't remember the name of it. But they are starting to take, as you can see. So that's good. Right, let's have a look over the other side. I haven't got that much going on, but I have some garlic. Here's a brief look at the carnage of everything else. So I've been digging that. That's mostly weeds. I've been digging that bed out and that bed out. That bed has still got some asparagus in it, so that grew well again this year, and half a bed of strawberries. But here we have lots of garlic, and the garlic's all doing well. I don't think there's any, here we go. I think we got some scapes starting just here. So that means we're in the sort of last month of the garlic here. But this is all nice and strong. Hopefully we'll have nice, two different types of garlic, as you can see. But good, strong growth. Pleased with that. Yeah, we need to get amongst the weeds here as well. But we've also got some beetroots. So I multi-sowed the beetroot as well, as you can see. But the beetroot's growing nicely. Need to find something for that part, and I've probably got some more tomatoes I can put in there. But there we go. That is the garlic bed. Yes. Strawberries, the asparagus, the mess. This is funny old thing. I hadn't actually put anything in here, and then all of this kale seedlings started popping up, so I'd obviously put a load of seeds in the compost and they hadn't, you know, rotted down, so I'll just let them grow. And here we have, they're all a bit close at the moment, so but I was looking at making some kale crisps. I actually don't particularly like kale, but I thought I'd let it grow this year. And we've got visitors and other people might like kale, but there, look, didn't even want it there, and I've got a whole bed of kale. And there we go. So on to the bottom greenhouse. So at the moment on the side beds I've got tomatoes all along here, and they always grow very tall. They're not, you know, quite small at the moment. Got some peppers along the side, and then I've got basil that's growing at the moment, and I will be planting that in the front of the peppers. Mosquitoes all over the place in here. Excuse the mess in this greenhouse, it's a bit untidy, but we've got tomatoes on the side, some small tomatoes, some peppers, and some purple basil in the front. It's all very small at the moment, but they're all starting to grow up now. And that's it in here. So coming out of the greenhouse, we have the side beds again. So I've got tomatoes all the way along there. I'm going to put some lettuce all the way down the centre here, because this gets shady in the afternoon. So when it gets really hot here in Nova Scotia, they'll do nicely in the shade, and hopefully the tomatoes will have grown up above the sunline by then. And I've got slugs, look at that, pesky slugs, blackguard. So we've got runner beans along here, and purple beans, and tomatoes as well growing along. And here is my mixed bed, so I've got a bit of everything in here. I like to, you know, so like a small garden sort of bed. This is always the size you can have. You can grow lots of different things. So I've got peas on this side, some nice big fat kale that were growing in here. I need to pick some of that. I've got some bush beans just coming here that I planted. Some small tiny tomatoes, or whatever they're called. Here is going to be a rather big sunflower. It'll probably take over quite a bit, but you know, it's nice to have a nice sunflower in the bed. Some purple basil, small pepper there. So that's a row of onions here that I had left over. So that's a good size of onions. Got nothing in there yet. A small lettuce. And more tomatoes and runners on there. So you can have lots of different things in the bed here. So obviously I need to be thinking about next month, these onions will be coming to be harvested. So what am I going to put in there? Is it going to be new lettuce? Is it going to be some more something I need to be thinking about going forward? In here I've got a box with some potatoes in here, and I'm going to using the seaweed method there. So I've got nothing in this side bed at the moment. These are all the old leaves from the tulips that I grew for cut flowers earlier in the year. I've got some onions in there, but I will be putting probably some courgettes and cucumbers when they're big enough and it gets a bit warmer. They can all grow along that side of the bed. Right, here we go, is the last bit, which is the big greenhouse. So this is on the other side of my garden now. The flower beds are looking lovely at the moment. Everything growing really lushly. We've had quite a bit of rain lately, so it's all enjoyed that. Not that I've enjoyed it. Here's my new bed that I've just created here. Look at that foxglove, beautiful. Anyway, we're not talking flowers, are we? We're talking greenhouse and veg. Right, here's the big greenhouse. And we have lots of more tomatoes in here at the moment. So we've got the main bed, the side bed, and obviously the shelves on the side that I grow things in. So I've still got some remnants of some lettuce that I'm picking, hanging on to it while my other stuff's quite young. Here are some jalapeno peppers, and these have grown on quite a bit in the last few weeks since I planted them. So 1, 2, 3. Oh, that one's a bit small. It's been covered a bit. Then I've got rows of tomatoes all the way along here. Lots of tomatoes, and I need to get some string now to start tying them in to the roof, because they'll grow very tall. So lots of tomatoes in there. And this errant potato that I grew, that was a failed experiment from last autumn, and it's come up and grown. I thought I'd let it grow and see what happens, and see if I get any spuds out of it. But there you go. That's growing really well in this greenhouse. Likes the warmth, obviously. Here we have more Tiny Tim tomatoes. They're growing along nicely. And then a row of basil. And then a row of peppers at the back. Grapevine in the corner. Need to tie that in. Bit messy at the moment. Some more remnants of the tomatoes that I need to, whatever I've got left I need to plant. And these purple basil. Need to plant them up. So here I'm growing peppers in the big buckets. This is about the good size to grow the peppers in. Excuse me, there's a mosquito trying to get mine. Get out of it. Go on. Yes, so peppers along here. What are they? These are hot, mixed hot ones. More tomatoes that need potting up. Here are some cucumbers. See, I'm a bit late with the cucumbers, but they'll be alright. I'm going to grow them in the greenhouse. Or one of them in the greenhouse. And as you can see, last year I had lots of cucumbers from the vines that I grew sort of here. And the last little bit is more basil. So green basil here, growing at the moment, and hopefully that'll speed up so I can start getting some nice basil going on. So there we go. Not the most prolific of veg tours I've ever given. Like I said, a bit late starting with all of my different plantings, etc. Because of you know, I'm going to make the excuse because of the DIY jobs that have sort of bled over from the late winter, early spring into now. I've still not completely finished the bathroom, which I'm hoping to finish this week. And Mrs F has got a friend coming over on holiday this year, and I've been given a big long list of jobs that I was needing to complete to make the house habitable for a guest. So I'm nearly there, but look, the excuse is over. Well, actually one more excuse. So I've got this hernia operation on Friday, so that would sort of take me out of sort of major ops, I'll say, for a few weeks. But what that will give me a chance to do is get sowing some seeds, because it's still only the start of July. Lots of time for the summer to keep going. I can sow carrots, etc. for, you know, for a late autumn harvest. I can start thinking about second sowings of runner beans, bush beans, etc. So when I take out the onions, I want to be I could have some, and the garlic, I could have a good set of bush beans, etc. that I'd already planted up, I'd already sown, and they could be seedlings that I could be putting in as soon as that garlic and the onions are harvested. So, and there's lettuce, I could be doing second sowings of lettuce and rocket, etc. I could be thinking about sowing broccoli for the winter. So lots of things that I can be... Ooh, it's a big scary waspy thing just came in the greenhouse. So lots of things I can be thinking about sowing, even though I'm going to be man down when it comes to sort of like big projects and digging. Hopefully I'll be able to have the strength to lift up a camera to film some of it. But still lots of things growing in the garden, and if nothing else, I'm going to have a deluge of tomatoes, so I can make lots of tomato sauces, tomato this, tomato that, over the summer. There you go. that's the chore done. Job's a good one. Now I better go and do some work. See you later.